Hello, everyone. My name is Christian. Welcome back to my hobby blog. I'm extremely excited today because we are talking One Piece's ELBAF arc, which is the latest arc going on right now. It's still ongoing. We just got the final chapter of the year, 1169. Of course, there will be spoilers. So if you have not read up to chapter 1169, do not watch this because we've never had so many answers before in the series, and I love it. So I'm happy to welcome back my friend Mathias. Welcome back. How's it going? Happy holidays. We are recording this a few days before Christmas. So
Yeah, hello. Thank you so much for having me back.
yeah, you're welcome. So first thing I want to talk about is how has this arc been going for you so far? Like from the first chapter of the arc to now, 1169. It's been about 50 chapters, I think. So
I think for me, when it first started, it was, you always see it with hindsight, but when the initial were coming out, I mean, you were reading it, you caught up when exactly?
I caught up around 11:55, I think. So
Okay,
it's been about 3 months now being caught up.
cool.
So
Yeah, because I caught up around the finale of Egghead, so I was reading it weekly. And when it was coming out, at the start of Elbad is kind of funny because like it's kind of his own little mini arc where they're like imprisoned and they're dolls and little diorama. So there were so many theories back then, and it was actually nice week to week because it was so weird what was going on. People were like, "Oh, we're not. Are we on Elbaf? Are we on somewhere else? Are we in a submarine?" Like there was some really fun, weird theories. And also, one thing that happened at the time was the chapters when they were releasing, they had a lot of art mistakes. One of the chapters, so people had a lot of theories about like hallucinations and like Elbath, Nordic mythology, Loki. There's like a lot of lore around trickery and stuff like that. But none of that panned out. It was just mistakes. and then and then when I think it really kicked it up a notch when they finally broke out of the prison, because the chapter after they Luffy punches a wall and they go out of the prison, then they meet Loki. I think for me after that, it's just been really good. Like yeah, there was a certain point when they, I think the pacing has just been super good. There was only a slight point for me at one point when they were fighting the Gods Knight, where I was like, okay, I'm ready for something to happen. And then the next chapter, like something different happened. Then Emo showed up and possessed Gonko. I was like, okay, now, like, so that's the only point where I felt like, oh, okay, now I want something, like the pacing is a little bit, and then it turned. So I'm really, really happy. Like week to week has been amazing, and yeah, this is up there, like really, really good stuff. Yeah.
oh yeah. I remember that first like few chapters where we're in like the Alice in Wonderland like weird hallucination world. I was like, what is going on? Like, are we going to accidentally go somewhere else? Like, is this like a protection spell, like around the island? Like, what is this? Is this someone's devil fruit where they have like a fog of war? Not a fog of war, but like, again, a protection spell or something. And then Luffy breaks it open and like we meet Loki, and Loki is just one of the coolest characters, like new characters that we've had in a very long time. And he's just sitting on the ground like the entire time and just kind of like talking to our characters, being like, here's the history of Elbaf and like of Herald and, all this stuff. And it's been like 6 months of flashbacks now, and we're still
There's
in
a
the
lot of
flashback. So,
there's a lot of funny memes about like Loki being like talking. It's like I just need 1 more minute, 1 more minute.
yeah.
Yeah, but he's been like talking for like 4 hours in world time or something,
Yeah.
explaining all of this. It's like, what does this has to do with my father? Just like it's really important to know that Shaggy was so hot it crashed the world economy. It's super important detail. Like
Everyone wanted her.
uh, it's so funny. That's its own topic. But and
Yeah.
one other point I think it was funny to mention with the initial plot with Aaron. It's like Lego, like it's like Lego based, which is Danish.
Oh, that's fun.
The company, and I think some people speculated because there was like a Lego set that was released for One Piece, the live action. So maybe this was Oda's way of kind of like he's apparently a big Lego fan of kind of just some homage or a nod to that he just wanted his own little mini arc that was Lego based.
Yeah.
Maybe because it's definitely Legos, like that whole thing. So
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, because I've been looking at that, the Sunny Ship Lego set, and it's like $60, I think. And I'm like, man, that would look so cool, like on my desk or something. Like, that'd be like so fun to build. But I need to think about it first because, yeah, I don't do much Legos. I always just like get demotivated when I like lose one piece and it's like, oh no, like the entire set's ruined and like all this stuff. And because there's always a missing set, like every time I do Legos, there's always a missing piece. So
I mean, I'm not really into. Well, I am into Lego. I just don't really collect it. But I think the beauty of Lego is that I mean, even if you miss one piece, then one piece. You can just improvise. You can make your own thing, or I think that's the beauty of it. Like it's supposed to be like your own creations and your own how you stitch it together. But anyway, I think especially in hindsight, that is the least interesting thing about that, right? The initial part.
Yeah.
I think it's more when you don't know going on. I think reading it again is less interesting because okay, it's road, they're being imprisoned, but it was cool reading it the first time. But yeah, maybe we should talk about Loki, since he's I think one of the first major characters you meet. So what was your I can see my initial impressions when we first saw him. I was like, okay, he's a villain. He's gonna be the main bad. Also because Loki in lore, in a lot of, I think most people's conception of Loki is from Marvel, right? And kind of the modern superheroes. But Loki in Nordic mythology and just in general is always this kind of villain character. I can sort of speak a lot to that because I kind of I'm working on a game in the same genre, so I've read up a lot on it. But the cool thing with Loki as a mythological feature is that he is this trickster god, but he's often a friend and a foe to the gods. And he kind of oscillates back and forth. And I think in some ways, Oda has captured the spirit of it, in that Loki is clearly not a bad guy. We found out eventually, but he's done some pretty terrible things, and there's a lot of nods to Nordic mythology that you may or may not catch. I don't know if you remember the horse that showed up for one panel and then it died off screen.
Yeah,
that's Odin's magical 8-legged horse. I guess Oda just wanted to draw it, just to kill it off. But Loki got blamed for the death of that as well. And I think if I remember correctly, it's funny in the mythology. Loki, a lot of creatures are Loki's sons. I think that horse might be Loki's son because he can shapeshift. So he shapeshifts into various animals and have sex with horses, and then he's like, "Oh, here, Odin, here's a fast horse." It's the same with Fenrir. That's also Loki's son, and the Midgard worm as well, I think. So, but anyway, sorry, I got sidetracked.
All good.
I wanted to ask you, what was your initial impression when you first saw him in that end chapter when he's chained up and he's like, "I'm the sun god that will destroy the world." I think something like that. He said. What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I was really hyped for him. I mean, I thought he was a villain as well, but I really like the idea too that he's sort of this mixed allegiance type of guy, because he is very sometimes very heroic, as you see in the flashbacks later, but sometimes he's pretty villainous. I mean, he takes on the blame for killing Harold, and we're just now getting the answers for that in the last 2 chapters or so. But I really like Loki. I want him to become the main, I guess, ruler of ELBAF. Once Harold is ultimately, well, I think he is dead, but once all the struggles and conflicts go away and all that. And I would honestly love to see Loki join the Straw Hats. I think it would be so cool. I think he is the most powerful guy that they need to have on the side, and he is very pro Luffy right now, because I guess he sort of has that doubt, being maybe I'm not the sun god, this guy is obviously the sun god. And especially once the fighting starts in modern time, we haven't seen much fighting with Luffy because they've just been talking in the underworld in this very snowy, dangerous place that Loki's mom threw him off the cliff of. And that was a big moment that made me think maybe he's not so much a villain, but he's just really conflicted and just really pissed off at the world. And he has that really amazing emotional moment where he says no, my stepmother is my real mom. You know, she's the one who loves me more and loved me for who I am. Because as we see in the story, he has the bandana on. Like, everyone does not like his eyes. They call him a demon when he is born. Like, he has such a. This is classic One Piece for me, where, like, upon first glance, we're like, oh, it's this big villain. But then, like, when we get into the flashbacks, we're like, oh, wait, like, there's so much more to the story. And that's why I love Loki, like, so much, because there's so much that can still go on in the present day. Like, because I think Loki has just freed him from the chains, and then he starts talking or telling the backstory of ELBAF and Herald and all that. So once he gets into action, like, we haven't seen this devil fruit really. He's about to eat it, and I think that there's that animated hammer that is attacking him. I think that's a good. That's kind of like Mjolnir, which is not a Loki weapon. That's Thor's weapon. So I'm thinking, like, maybe we'll get, like, Usopp getting the hammer or something, you know, just throw a bone to the Usopp fans. Because,
But
yeah.
yeah, in One Piece they call it Ragnar, which
Yeah.
is I think a combination of like Ragnarok and Mjolnir, like the end. So and it's definitely like a spin on that. And it is, yeah. I think. Oh man, Usopp is starving, so wouldn't that be something? Give the man something. But
Yeah.
I think it would be cool in a way because like that it was a while ago, but you know back in Alabasta and in Thriller Bark, Usopp had that big fake hammer that he used. So having an ongoing thing is that the lies that Usopp has been telling has been coming true. So that would be a really cool kind of story callback in a way to actually give him maybe the hammer can shrink down, or even maybe the owl can shrink it down. That would be my initial thought because we saw that could like shrink things. So and then that could be a cool power. But I think with Loki, where his character, I'm very intrigued because like I really think his character can go in a lot of directions, and I would be fine with most of them.
Yeah.
Like again, because of the lore around Loki, like you know, like real life mythology, he is this kind of like twisty turny. Is he good? Is he bad? So he really could go either way, or maybe he's going to become this chaotic neutral thing that's out there. I think it would be cool if he joined the fleet, but on the other hand, I'm also like, how practically is he going to join? Like, he's not just a giant. He's like he's an ancient giant, so he's like 3 times as tall as a normal giant.
Yeah.
So then you would have to shrink him, and then if you do that, then like, what's the point of him being a giant? That to me feels a little.
Yeah.
That would feel a little weird. I think I'm leaning more towards him becoming part of the Grand Fleet, or co-ruling the country with his brother, with what's his name? The other Harrigan.
Harrigan,
yeah. I think, and also in a distinct, maybe like third distinct possibility is that he joins Blackbeard. Because Blackbeard, as we now know, is related to Rox, which was Loki's idol. So that could be something there. I think that could be a very cool, unforeseen. Because I think, with Loki asking him like, join my crew, and like the sad backstory, which is the very archetypical Straw Hat. You get to know that, and we have a lot of sympathy for him now, and especially the last episode for me really cemented like the tragedy of him, that we know, okay, there's very strong hints that he lied. Like, we've heard all these stories about him being the scorn of ELBAF and doing all the bad things, but it all got recontextualized, and we know that he probably lied to keep his dad's name safe, because in present day Harold is still looked on as the greatest king, and the last chapter he said like, tell everyone like I was a bad king, it was all for naught. But that didn't happen, so it seemed like he sacrificed himself in order to preserve his dad's memory, which just adds to the tragedy and to his character and everything. So yeah, there's a lot there. It's going to be interesting where it goes.
So speaking of Rox, let's talk about the best introduction of a character in the series yet. I feel like, because we're getting a flashback of Loki like talking about Herald and all that, and we get some like silhouettes, classic Oda silhouettes, like in the background, these figures walking through the snow on ELBAF, and we're like, who are these people? And then like Big Mom is there, Whitebeard is there, Kaido is there, And I'm like, wait a minute, are we about to get rocks like finally on screen? Because we've never seen rocks. Like there is a little puppet though, like very early in the series that sort of looks like him, that people have sort of
Yeah.
caught later on. But like we've never seen him, and we get the classic like title card, you know, Rocks D Zebek, and then in parentheses it says Father of Blackbeard, and like that was so fun because that was always a theory I think everyone had was like, oh, he's the father of Blackbeard, like makes sense. And like the confirmation, like that was the first like confirmation that I got like as someone catching up where I was like, this is so great to be like living this like in real time. And like we get a lot of great banter between Rox and his crew. We get some really amazing like discussions between him and Harold. They're like pretty good friends, but Harold wants to align himself with the world government, which I do not like at all. It's why I don't like Harold, because he is so insistent upon putting ELBAF under the world government. And he's like trying to sell out his country. And Rox is just kind of like, you know, causing chaos everywhere. And is trying to recruit Harold to his cause. And it's just like this entire thing. And eventually we get the culmination of all of this when we get the full answers of what happened at God Valley, which I think we can spend probably hours talking about. But like God Valley is sort of what becomes the main emotional thrust of the arc, because we find out that previously we already knew, but it was a hunting ground for the world government to shoot off rare peoples, sort of like the Lunarians. Well, Lunarians are gone by this point, but the hunting down the Buccaneers. Kuma is there. We get more answers with Kuma and Bonnie. Or, no, Jenny. Yeah, Jenny. Who is Bonnie's mother. And we get more answers with Dragon as a Marine. I was not expecting to even see Dragon on God Valley, but he was there. We see a lot of pirates culminating or converging onto the island. We have the Rocks pirates who are looking for Shaki, and Rayleigh is there, and he's has a letter from her and all this stuff. And we also have the Rocks pirates show up, and we've kind of seen that on the Egghead arc in the anime so far. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to get the full animation for the God Valley, because everything just kind of turns to shit really, really fast. In terms of like all the pirates come in and everyone just starts fighting each other. The Gorosei are there. I think Saturn is there specifically, and he gets possessed by Emu, who of course hasn't shown up in a while, but it's great to see our Lord and Savior Im Sama. But that was so much fun to sort of get all these different moments, and all four of them. We have Gop showing up. He shows up and is just awesome. He's at his peak time, his prime, so he's super powerful at this time. He only uses hockey. He don't have a devil fruit. He don't have any special powers, just hockey. And all like five of them, we have Big Mom, Kaido. Kaido post eating what was supposed to be Katakiri's fruit, which is really funny. He just kind of knocks out Big Mom and takes the fruit for himself and turns into the big blue dragon that we know and love from Wano. And all four of them, Big Mom, Garp, Rox, Roger, and Kaido, the five, they all hit Emu at the same time and actually wound him. But then he just regenerates, and we're like, wow, like all these really powerful people, like they couldn't do much against Emu. And it is such a fascinating, like, flashback.
How do you feel about regeneration as a mechanic?
I think it's fun. I mean, it's very video game-like, having regeneration. I mean, it's something that happens a lot. Like I'm thinking of, like, sort of Elden Ring and stuff when you're fighting, like, the dragons and stuff, or Dark Souls games. Like, the dragons usually have regeneration. Some bosses have regeneration. Like, it makes sense to me, like, as a gamer, that, Emu would be able to provide regeneration to his, followers. Like, it makes total sense to me. I know some people don't like it, but again, as a gamer, it's just kind of like, okay, I get it.
I feel mixed about it because I do think that it can end up with like the villains feeling not as threatening because there was also a little bit of problem I felt in Egghead Island. We saw the Gorosei getting like blown up and punched and like flattened so many times, but it could just regenerate. But it is kind of like taking some of the threat out. Like in a way, it makes them threatening because they can always come back, but it makes them seem very squishy. Like they are, someone steps on their toe, oh no, they need to regenerate.
Yeah.
It's not like where, Kaido, he took an insane amount of beating. And Kaido, like you can say a lot of stuff about him as a villain, like good and bad, but like he was like a powerhouse. Like he kept on taking the hits. But here, in comparison with one of the Goroseis, it seemed like they could barely take any hit and they needed to regenerate.
Yeah.
And I think, on one way, it's cool that the main villain has something like that. But I enjoy it more when there's a sense of, blows having impact and leaving like damage and stuff, where this just seemed like endless stamina in a way. I did enjoy it with the Gods Knights, with the with the thorns. I forget the name of that guy, but the guy who has the thorns, like kind of when we first meet him and he kind of regenerates after getting attacked and stuff. I thought that was entertaining. Especially when Gaban cuts him and stuff. But I think not to jump into another topic regarding the God Valley incidents. When it first started, I was like, we're not going to get it. We're going to get like a little part of it, and then he's going to jump out, and then he continued. And I think I was praying every week, like, please give us all the answers, and he did. So, yeah, who do you think came out looking best from God Valley character-wise, and who do you think came out looking worst?
Well, I think in terms of best, I think it's probably Rox. I mean, because originally we thought he was this big villain in the entire series. There's so much propaganda around him. And it ends up that he was just trying to save his wife and child, who is Blackbeard, as we know. And, like, all of that was just so emotional, and I loved it. And, like, it cast him in a totally new light because, like, he was trying to save people. He wasn't there just trying to get treasure, which is what Roger was going to do, which leads me into the West one. I don't know if it's the West, but this is the one I've changed my mind on the most, is that Roger, I feel like, is not as good as we thought, because he was there just to get treasure, and also to get Shaki, of course, because she was captured, but... I mean, as he says in every panel,
How do you feel about Goon Piece? Did you see those memes?
It's fun. I mean, it's fun.
People were very split on it. I was at first. I was like, "Are you serious? Like this like world-shattering event is because of Shaki?" But I actually really like it, and I think it's funny. Yeah, it's very Oda.
It's very Oda, yeah.
And I like it more that it's connected to like a person instead of like some abstract, like, oh, they stole a golden toilet or whatever. It's because they kidnapped a person, and a person that means something to everyone. And I know there's the whole like hard eyes, and they all wanna get her. But I also got the sense that she has the bar there, and it's also just like everybody feels a sense of she's part of the island. She becomes part of their culture, and she means a lot to them. That's at least what I got out of it, so I really liked it. And I liked that I think it relatively quickly got resolved. Like they got in, Rayleigh had a really nice moment where he rescued her, and then
I love that.
It was kind of done, like there was a few jokes with other characters being like, oh no, Rayleigh got her kind of, but Roger, he stopped gooning the other characters. that was good. So I know some people didn't like it, but I thought it was. I actually kind of ended up liking it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I really liked it too. Like, especially because we got some flashbacks of how important she was to Hachinosu and her bar. Because like we see her a lot in the bar, like throughout the current times. I never really got much investment into her character, but like I plan on doing a reread of the series and maybe a rewatch next year. And I'm definitely gonna pay a lot more attention to Shaki, because I thought she was just like a fun drinking buddy of Rayleigh's, but now that we know a whole lot more about her, it's like, wow, I can get so much more out of the series now. Like when I see her.
Think it's really like, and One Piece does this so well. Like it's really cool the recontextualization, and you can in those old scene like oh this character. Same with on Amazon Lily, the old empress there, the little old shriveled up. What's her name? I can't remember, but she's
Yeah.
the in the Rocks pirate, right? Like, and there is some hints in her dialogue towards stuff like that. And I think the same with Shaki, that she's like, oh, I used to be a pirate. So I don't think at that point when Oda introduced her that he had this grand plan that she was eventually going to be Shaki of Troy that started a war. But he managed to weave it in a way that makes sense and is believable and adds context to all the scenes, which is really cool. And makes rewatching or rereading rewarding because you're like, okay, these characters went through this. So I like that stuff a lot. But okay, but who do you think came out worst? That was my initial question of God Valley as a character.
I think in terms of the West, we haven't talked about it. Let's talk about these two characters first. We got an introduction around the time of Rocks of a character that looks exactly like Shanks. I thought it was Shanks when he showed up on ELBAF in his dark hood over the purple pentagram that the Gorosei used to teleport all around the world. And we get a reveal that it's actually not Shanks, but it's Shamrock, who is the twin brother, older brother, by not too much time, but he is older, I guess. But he is the older brother of Shanks. And we also get introduced to his father, who is Saint Garling, who becomes the new God Knight, or whatever, commando. And I think those two... I think Garling, is the absolute worst. Because we see him kill Shanks and Shamrock's mother just point blank with a gun. He's like, okay, you provided me with some heirs, like, your job is done. And he just shoots her. And then he lands the killing blow on Rocks. But this is after everyone else has attacked him, and Emu has attacked him, like, all this stuff. And he just walks up, he's like, oh, I'm going to kill him now. And so technically he is the champion of God Valley, because that's what his title is. But I think as a fan, he's just the absolute worst. I hate Garling. He's really fun, but like he is just the absolute worst. I mean, he is a banana head. I mean, he literally has a banana on top of his head in the shape of his hair.
I so thought his hair was going to be red. It was so weird when you saw blonde.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. This is a whole topic in itself, but like the God's Knights were kind of disappointing. And Garling,
I thought there would be more with them.
He had aura, like at the end of Egghead, he becomes the new Gorosei, and he's like, oh, he's probably the strongest of them, but then he just gets his ass whooped like 2 or 3 times, and he only gets a kill because he goes up on a defeated Rocks. It's like, and generally just like all the God's Knights just got clapped.
Yeah,
God's Valley, like that's my one minus. I think I wish they had a stronger showing. And just like, again, they're supposed to be the endgame villains. I don't really feel much threat from them because you just see how easily they got defeated by multiple characters. Like Whitebeard, like one-shot at one of them without even trying. Just like, oh, he did an attack for something else, and it just like cut her in half. The one who looks like Cruella de Vil, shot a lace out of her mouth. So for me, with the God's Knights, which I actually would like to talk a bit about, I think those were the overall losers, kind of aura and character-wise. Like, I still think they have potential. I have hopes for them to be. I think they're such a mixed bag for me. I think in present day, I really like Horn Guy and Dream Guy, Dragon Dream Guy.
Yeah, he's cool. Yeah,
I like Gunko. Shamrock is cool. Garling has lost a massive amount of aura. I hope he gets like a cool demon form, like the other Gorosei, that could bring him back up. But I feel like he needs some sort of win to show that he's strong, or just something to show intimidation.
Yeah.
But I think the old ones, like Cruella de Vil, she got like cut in half. What else was it? Then Garling. Then there's the woman with the black hair, who we haven't seen done anything really, but she's been like, besides Garling, she also got like defeated.
Yeah.
And then we didn't really see the other ones too much. We saw there's like a lady with a gun. She shot some civilians, but we didn't see them fight anyone of any significance or do anything. There's also like a God's Knight that looked like a demon with like bat wings and stuff.
Oh yeah.
But what do you think? What do you think of them?
I am ambivalent towards the God's Knights. I really like Gunko, of course, because of all the ideas and theories I have on her, which we can talk about a little bit later. But I also really, really like Shamrock. I think he is just such a fun like introduction to the story. It explains why Shanks was meeting with the Gorosei later in the series, because he did kind of have it on his unscarred side, like in the panel. So it's kind of like, oh, was it Shamrock? Was it Rocks? And like, it's such a fun like character as well, because he's just really evil. He's very entitled. He is just really shitty. Like, he's definitely the villain to Shanks's maybe hero side. I don't know. I'm still half and half on whether Shanks is good or bad. I'm leaning on good right now, but
Why would you think he was bad at this point? If you know it was his twin that was there, like what indication would there be that he's bad?
right now it's the fact that he's trying to go for the One Piece or whatever, and he's not trying to help Luffy, which I feel like is like, I don't know. Maybe he's trying to make Luffy prove himself to get the One Piece, which I get, and that would make him be more heroic. But I feel like he has really kind of sat in the background of the entire series and has not helped with anything, except for at Marineford when he came in and kind of saved Luffy at the last second. And then Ben Beckman was there about to shoot Kizaru's head off. Like, that was fun. But, like, I don't know, like, his crew as well, they can easily fit into, like, a villain group, I feel like. Like, they just have the makings of it. It's really, again, I'm very half and half. I'm leaning that he's good, but there's little things.
I don't think.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. Fair enough. I'm not saying that you can't think that, but I think he's clearly like a good guy, and I mean, a lot of people are theorizing that he's gonna die to Blackbeard as this kind of like archetypical story structure. You know, he's like the mentor.
Yeah.
He's gonna die, and then Luffy will have a lot of motivation to fight Blackbeard, which he already has, of course, but you know, to avenge his. And we know Blackbeard has scarred him. Blackbeard is strong, so I don't see a lot of hints towards him being evil anyway. Like, you could say, like, why is he not just joining Luffy? But yeah, I think there is. Oda does need to kind of like explain, and there's a lot of hints in the story, like why are all these characters not just getting the One Piece? There's something about like they needed to wait that has been brought up before, like, oh, the time is not right. Roger was too early, right? So yeah, that really needs to be an explanation of like why didn't, and it seemed like he knew where it was, or maybe not, since he needed the rope poneglyphs. I don't know. But like, there's multiple characters who's been to Laugh Tale and saw the One Piece, who are still alive, and they're not doing anything. Why is that? And like, I'm sure we're gonna get there. I don't think Shang is evil.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think in terms like comparing him to the other Celestial Dragons, he's definitely like the hero, because like, I mean, he keeps just escaping and sort of like leaving Mary Jo during the times of the contracts and all that. But like, I don't know. Like, there's a feeling in my stomach. Like, I feel like it can change so quickly with Shanks. Like, and also he killed one of my favorite side characters, Kid. So, but again, Kid was, you know, challenging him, being like, "I'm gonna get you," and it's kind of like, okay.
I don't think he's dead. He might be, but yeah. It's funny a lot of people hate him online.
I'm shocked by that. I love Kid. I thought it was fun. And we also got a appearance of his devil fruit during God Valley of the previous owner of it. That was fun. And also
that was one of my that was one of my favorite kind of small things. Like all the previous devil fruit, we got the whatever it's called, the metal fruit, magnetic fruit, and then we got the Booker explosion fruit, which is so funny when you think about it, because like the fruit is just like you can make things explosive.
Yeah.
And for some reason, this character, like the smuggler, rock pirate, uses boogers, and then number 5, Malabasta, also uses boogers.
Yeah.
38 years later. Like, why would you both do that? I mean, so dumb that I kind of love it.
Yeah.
But
silly Oda.
Yeah. But yeah.
Should we talk about Gunko or what?
Yeah, Gunko. So it's actually like when she was introduced, I actually really, really liked her devil fruit, and also the way it's been showed, like the arrow fruit. just the way he drawn it. It's been one of the most versatile fruits we've seen because like she's like first she has that thing when she can make them, and it's like it's her destiny that needs to be like it's for sure a destiny that will happen, and then she can like punch along those lines. She can also make constructs. We've seen she made like a bird that they rode on.
Yeah.
She made like boots for herself so she could like step on Loki. Maybe he's into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. And she also redirected when she fought like the Straw Hat. She redirected the Brooks and Jim-based attacks. So I just think it's so cool how versatile it's been with that fruit. That's my favorite kind of fruits are when they can do all these multiple things, but it doesn't feel like ash pulls. It feels like just creative expressions of what the fruit can do.
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think about her up until like before the flashback, like how she was shown and introduced?
I really liked her. I thought she was the coolest out of that group. And I was really sort of excited to see, like, because again, her devil fruit is like so cool with all the arrows, and there's a lot of like weird stuff going on with how the God Knights are like kidnapping all the giant children, and she's using her arrow powers to like make them walk in a line, and, like all this stuff, and no one can do anything about it. All these parents come in trying to rescue them, nothing can be done. And then
sorry, just to add to that, like one of my other really favorite things, which doesn't happen that much, I feel, is like the combo of fruits. Like so here it's like the combo of the fruits that the dragon I think, what is it? He's like some sort of mythical Chinese or Japanese dragon, like the God Knight. He can make people sleep.
Yeah.
He makes them sleep, and then with her fruit, she makes them go, right? That's a small thing, but I really like when they do that kind of things. It's like combination of fruits. And,
yeah.
I feel like Oda keep it pretty kind of compartmentalized most of the time, but I like it when it's like together.
Yeah, it's really fun. But yeah,
sorry, I was interrupting you.
No,
what were you saying?
Yeah. So like Gunko, like she's just a lot of fun. I also really like the idea because we have that moment. It's like right before the flashback where she, her eyes meet with Brooke, and she sort of remembers her past. And I guess we can go into it, but there's so many theories tied around her. One of them I saw, which I think is pretty cool, but I don't believe in it personally, is that she is the sister of Rox. And that's why Rox was in the flower room, kind of seeing Emu and Gunko together. And that he was just kind of like looking in on her, and that she's also the mother of Buggy. And that's why she has the bandana around her face. So she's covering up the, clown nose or whatever. I don't believe in it personally, but I think it's a fun sort of idea. I don't know.
That would be wild. Yeah.
Yeah. It's really squished down. I don't know. Like, I don't.
It is weird.
Yeah.
It's always funny with One Piece characters. Like sometimes, oftentimes in stories, if you have like masks of things that covers, then that is, there's like going to be a reveal and stuff. And here she's covered by her face, but it could just be a design thing. Yeah. But then again, Oda, he also likes to have a lot of thematic stuff and planning, so it could also be a big reveal or something. So I don't know, but yeah, there's definitely a very cool lingering plot point with like her relation to Brooke. Like what kind of relation that is. I'm leaning on the side of, I don't think it's like blood related. I think he was like her guardian or something like that. They were close. And then he became a pirate, and eventually his story happened. He was stranded, and then Gongo somehow got involved with the world government and got the brand. There's another interesting thing with her as a character is that we've seen her 38 years ago, and now she looks the same. But we've seen the other God Knights have aged. So what's the difference there? Right? It seems like we know the Gorosei, they don't age, because we've seen Sinjid Saturn 200 years ago and he looked the same. So, but it doesn't seem like she's a Gorosei, but maybe she has the same level brand or something that also stops her from aging. There's a lot of interesting questions and like the timeline of when stuff happened and stuff.
Yeah, because my personal theory, and this is one that I've argued a lot about online, is that she is the daughter of Brooke, because he used to be a noble of some kingdom. We don't have any answers on that. And then he was seemingly exiled and sort of stranded in the ocean forever, and he, had the resurrection fruit. And like, my thinking is that she was kind of kidnapped, and he went out to sell and look for her or something. and she was just sort of basically brainwashed by Emu, and is basically just his dedicated vessel for her. Because again, I mean, she has blue hair. I mean, he also goons towards Vivi and all the Nefertari, and so there's that silly layer,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
But it's a consistent thing that he's always obsessed with these blue haired women, and like he maybe chose her as like an Aya or something. I don't know, but again, I think she is just a vessel for him, and he just sends her out to these different locations, and he can just tap right into her pretty easily instead of sending the Gorosei or whatever, because a lot more
But
people know about the Gorosei than Gunko. So
we've seen Emo directly possess Gunko and Jay Garcia Saturn. So, but not any of the other Gods Knights. So I think that's maybe some clue towards her being on the same level as the Gorosei,
yeah,
unless this rule gets broken. Because I think it also raises a question of, whenever one of the God Knights are kind of like struggling in combat, why doesn't Emo just like lend some juice, just like kick in and like possess them and then outright? Like why has it only happened twice?
yeah,
At least in the story we've seen so far. I hope we get that answer. But that's a cool theory, especially the point of like her having blue hair and Emo being the Eevee Gooner. That might be there might actually legit be a plot point there.
yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of the idea that she's Buggy's mom and like Rox's sister?
Yeah.
Like, because that would kind of explain
I
why he was there in the
the Rock
flower
sister,
room.
I would have to, because like he didn't say anything when he was in there. I feel
Yeah.
like Rox would have been like, then he would have been like, I'm gonna get you back or something. Like she was there when Rox went
Yeah.
in. So I think it's Bucky's mom. I could more see, but I'm not sure what the point of that would be. I
Yeah.
guess we could see. I
That
think
was my
more
thinking.
Rox might be Bucky's dad. I mean, there's a lot of similarities there, but like that bounty poster looked the same. And
Yeah.
you might have read this online, but apparently Sebek means Bucky in Vietnamese or something like
Oh,
that.
wow.
Someone has this online like this connection. But I will say, because I read through like a lot of the SBS, reading through the volumes, and someone is a little bit of a side tangent, but during after Water 7, when they fought Lucci, an Italian guy wrote in and was like, "Oh, this name you picked is like it means light or something, and that's because of this thematic reason." This whole like beautiful paragraph of like, "Oh, you chose this name because it's so thematically relevant," and then I responded like, "Oh yeah, I totally knew that. That's totally why I picked that name." And then in parentheses, like, "I did not know it meant that." So
Yeah.
it could also just be a coincidence. It could be. It would be a very funny coincidence, but yeah, who knows?
Yeah, that'd be fun. Yeah, I definitely lean that, Rox is his father. I don't know if I believe that Gunko is the mother. Like, again, he would have said something in the flower room, but he was
Yeah.
like, I'll be back later or whatever. So, oh, yeah.
I popped in there. Yeah, and I think about Big Mom and Kaido. Like we have all the four emperors there. Actually, everyone's there in God Valley, right? Like
Yeah.
Shanks, Blackbeard, Kaido, Big Mom. For me, I really liked what it did for Big Mom and Kaido, especially Kaido. I think it added a lot of into his character. I will say, but I'll save these comments for after we just talk about it a bit. Like, I wish it had a slightly different ending, like how end of the flashback. But I really like Goofy Kaido. I really like how
Yeah.
he this like young rookie, and then looking up to Rocks, but then he also like he has the sucker punch with Big Mom, and but
Yeah.
Big Mom is kind of like a bit of a mentor to him, but at the same time she cares more about her family. I thought it was an interesting dynamic. What did you think? What do you think the flashback did for them?
I really liked it. I liked the Big Mom stuff a whole lot more because it added another layer because she was trying to get one of the fruits for Katakiri, and the dragon one would have been so cool, like, for him to have. And, like, I
Yeah,
would really enjoy. I mean, he's still awesome. He's one of my favorite sort of side characters in that
Have you
arc.
seen the fan art? Oda,
Hmm.
he actually drew if Ivankov ate the dragon fruit. Have you seen that?
Oh, I have not. I've seen fan art of it, but maybe that was Oda's. I
Because
didn't
someone
realize.
asked what it would look like in an SPS, and then Oda
Hmm.
drew it. It's kind of a cursed image, but it's also
Yeah.
pretty funny. It's basically just a dragon form with his big head at the end.
Oh yeah.
But you can Google it and look it up.
Yeah.
And
I
I'm sure similar fan art will be made of Katakuri.
Yeah. I really like the Kaido stuff too, because it did add another layer to his character that we haven't really seen yet, which is, young him being very, like, just, sucker punching mom and grabbing the devil fruit. And he's constantly, like, batting heads with Big Mom, even though she's sort of the reason why he is the way he is now. Like, he's definitely very, like, selfish. And I don't know, it was just really fun, like, to see them both, and they get some really great moments. I mean, again, they were part of the Super Punch frame, which was awesome. I also really like seeing Dragon, which we haven't talking too much about with him, but
Hmm.
he sort of has like an existential crisis on the island, realizing like how much harm is going on, and he saves Rock, oh no, Shanks, by putting him in the treasure box, or he crawls into the treasure box and he carries the chest away, knowing all this stuff, and he is put into jail by his father, Gop. And he's just kind of like, yeah, I hate you now. Like, I hate the Marines. I'm done with this shit. Like, and I really love that. I didn't think we would ever get that. Like, I thought we would get some mega dragon flashback, like, later in the series. But it was nice to get this, like, formative event, like, in God Valley. Like, so much happened on God Valley. Like, it's just incredible, like, how much detail that Oda was able to stick in there.
I agree. I think it was amazing for his character, especially a character we haven't seen. We've just seen the dot 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 and him like not really responding in so many scenes. It
Hmm.
was such a meme, right? Like,
Yeah.
but I really he was definitely one of the MVPs and just kind of like a pure-hearted character, right? Like you just
Hmm.
see his like disillusionment and how he kind of became radical, and his path in life, which all makes sense.
Hmm.
And it's really interesting with his dialogue with his dad, right? Because
Hmm.
he sees Garb to God Valley, but it doesn't seem like Garb actually sees him, or at least he doesn't acknowledge him. But then they later have that one conversation when he's jailed, and he just is like, okay, here's the key, I hate you, okay. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have much of a response, but I actually like it. I think it fits Garb's character.
Hmm.
Garb's character doesn't seem like the type who would be like, oh no, oh I guess. And then again, you could say like he was very much with Luffy and he's like, oh, you have to become Marines. Don't say you become pirates. But
Hmm.
I think after God Valley, he respected his son's like Dragon's decision to not be part of it. But we
Yeah.
also got Gab's perspective of like, okay, he knows there's things wrong in the organization, but he's gonna stay and look out for the little guy because
Hmm.
that's the kind of character he is, which I think is very consistent with how he's
Yeah.
been before with Kobe and
And
everything. And
yeah.
I think Gab is probably my favorite character. I
Hmm.
just really I love the old, always happy, laughing old man who's super powerful. I don't know if it's a trope, but I feel like old powerful men in anime are definitely a trope.
Yeah.
But just Garb as a character, I really like, and I think a lot of people were like, "Oh, down on him," and now I'm shifting a bit more to Garb. I hope that's okay.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah.
Like a lot of people were kind of slandering him and being like, "Oh, he's endorsing the slavery and the human hunt and the genocide and all that." But like, I think we know that he wasn't aware of those things, and when he became aware, like you could say maybe he should leave, but from his perspective, he's going to try to stay and look out for people in the Marines, and the Marines and the world government are not the same thing, right? And people have lots of discussions of like, yeah, but you shouldn't stay and endorse it and help it, but. I think it's interesting. I think it makes it more interesting. You have these different perspectives, and that he chooses to stay and his son doesn't. I think it makes for interesting storytelling. And I understand Gabs, even if I maybe don't 100% agree with him. I think it makes him an interesting character, and I don't think any of the slander is warranted towards him
Yeah.
anymore.
Yeah, he's definitely a very nuanced character, which I love about him because we get him pretty early on in the series, and it's like 200 or so, chapter 200, 150 maybe. And like he seems like such a rigid guy, like always following the world government. But like as every arc goes by, and especially like in Marineford, where he's just openly crying about the execution on Ace, but he can't do anything about it. Like it's such a interesting character to like watch on the panels and on screen. And I really love sort of his moment where he gives Dragon the key, because he's just like, I don't want this to sort of be my family legacy, as every generation is, doing this. Like, someone needs to go off and do their own thing. And there's that really funny like meme where people say like, oh, the entire One Piece series can be boiled down to, and it's that moment where Sengoku is yelling at God, being like, "Oh, you and your grandkids," like, like, and that's really
But when you
like
think,
true, yeah.
and when you think about it, like when we first see Dragon, it's in Town where he lets Luffy, he saves Luffy, and then he has like one line where maybe it's later on where he has some sort of line where he says like, "Become your own man, Luffy," or something.
Yeah.
But he's clearly like he could have just taken Luffy into the revolutionaries. But he seems to be like, okay, Luffy, you're going to be a pirate. Like, you're my son. You're going to live your own life. And in a way, that's the same with his dad. Like his dad, like Garp wasn't going to be like, okay, you have to do the same as me.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's intentional, but I kind of like that. It seems to be this family thing, right? Like they each just the monkeys, they just do what they want. Each generation of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that family, and I just can't wait to, like, because last we saw of Garp, he got captured, and we haven't seen anything since, because he got captured by Blackbeard, I believe, on the island, and it's like, I really want to know where that's going. Like, there's just so much, like, questions I have regarding that, so.
I would love kind of, I think there's so many interesting ways to go, but like, kind of like a Marineford point two, where they go to try to rescue Garp, and they go to the island. There are some theories about like Sengoku and Suru. I can't remember how to say her name, but like the two big, and you also see them in the flashback as young people, but like they're friends with Garp. But they're right now in the story in present day, they're out in a ship somewhere. It seems like sailing somewhere, so maybe they're going to rescue him. Potentially, that would be kind of cool. But maybe like like even Luffy assaulting Hachinosu and trying to rescue him, or some other characters, or maybe it's gonna be he's gonna be brought out some other place as a bargaining chip. I think that's what the story was setting up, right? Like Kobe wasn't a good bargaining chip, but Garp is because of his status and stuff. But I kind of almost hope Garp has like a really good death scene. Like
that'd be great.
It would be hit so hard because it's such a good character. But like him, I feel like his whole plot is like sacrificing for the new generation.
Yeah.
So he already took like the sword hit for Kobe, but if he could actually, and it's hard for Oda to do those scenes. He always does the pick out that. So I don't want to get my own hopes up, but like if you could have an actual kind of, and even redemption for Ace, right? If you could take a blow that would meant for Luffy or some other character or something and give his life, there's a lot of potential for cool, sacrificial, old mentor plot points,
That would be absolutely heartbreaking if we got like a similar panel, but it's got like taking the hit like from Blackbeard before he hits Luffy. Like that would be insane. I just know everyone online will be like sobbing. That'd be so crazy. But that's one thing that I have a problem with One Piece, is that they don't kill the characters enough. I feel like it's very like fake out deaths, like because this arc we actually got Saul back from Nico Robin's flashback. He's one of the like giants who was helping her, and like I was really disappointed that he came back. Like it was a nice emotional moment of them reuniting. I love that, but like it really lessened his death during I think Enies Lobby, when he just comes back. He's like, "Oh, I've been here this whole time waiting for you," and like it's so great seeing you how far you've come. Like
I don't like to fake out this, and I would also rather he would stay dead, but I don't hate it as much as some other. I think the two big offenders in my world is Pell and Kinemon.
Oh yeah,
Those
Kenny
two,
Mon. Yeah.
those two guys should just be. They had such good death scenes, and then you just. I think the problem is he undo it right after. Saul is still bad, but at least with Saul, you still have like the fallout of Robin living, for 20 years, thinking he was dead, and him suffering. It doesn't suddenly make those things better, right?
Yeah.
It would have been something else if, like, right after the island, that then Saul's sort of like, oh, I'm actually okay. Let's go somewhere, Robin, right?
Yeah.
So I don't hate it as much, and I really like the reunion moment. It's also very dark, you have that panel with Robin being like, I want to kill myself, and like,
Yeah.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's one of my main worries, like going into the end game of like just certain scenes, not the punch being taken out of them because you think, oh, it looks like a character's dead, but I can't trust that because
Yeah.
I know his style. But yeah,
Yeah, that's
I
my
want
thinking
to
so
ask,
far. Yeah. Go ahead, sorry.
like, I want to ask about kind of like this is like a side thing, but you know, in the cover story, which is it's like the worst cover story ever with Yamato, but
Yeah.
there was one big twist in it, which was that Moria is a Kusugi.
Kazuki, yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
I like it, but I wish that was more threaded throughout the story and was more relevant. Like, it's fun. Like, oh, hey, he's Kazuki, but it's like, so what? Like, what are you going to do with this now? Like, because, like, I don't know, maybe there were hints that I just missed, but, like, to me, I'm just kind of like, okay, that's fun, but, like, why now? Why in these cover stories? Why not just have it in the story, where they see the grave? Or whatever. Like, I don't know.
And actually, with somewhat again translated, I think Moria Gecko. Gecko means something moon or something, which is also what Kazuki means. There was some sort of name thing. So it
Yeah.
seems there might have been some planning on Oda's part. Yeah, I do think we talked earlier about like recontextualization. If you then think back to Gecko, like Moria fighting Kaido on Wano, it changes it from him raiding Wano and it being more villain to him actually defending Wano, maybe in a
Yeah.
way. So I think that's potentially like a cool recontextualization. I kind of like it. I'm curious to see where it goes, and I think it's likely that the Kusugis, they can read poneglyphs, so maybe he's going to join Cross Guild and he's going to be the person in their crew who can read the poneglyphs. And then I think that fills that slot. It's kind of like, yeah, interesting thing.
Yeah, that was
I
a
kind of
great
like Gecko
panel.
Moria, so.
Yeah, that was a great panel. I saw it like just this morning, and I forgot to save it. But someone was like, "Did Oda like spoil who all the future Cross Guild people will be?" And it had Moria on there, and everyone else, and that was part of it. But
I have a feeling like the Cross Guild is just going to be fighting the Seraphim in Final War or something.
yeah,
Because it's like all clones. They're just going to fight their own clones or something.
yeah, that'd be fun. Like, I'm open-minded to him being Kazuki. I just want to see where it goes before I'm like, yeah, and all this stuff. Like, right now, I'm just like, okay, now let me see what you do with this, like, information.
Speaking of, like, just before we move on, this kind of reminds me of another out of left pocket thing that I think Oda might do. Like, there's been this whole gag with Brooke about, like, asking to see women's panties.
Oh, yeah.
But you see with Gonko that she has like a very short skirt and you can kind of see. So what if the reason he's asking that is because like he's trying to look for Gonko because her panties has a certain color or something. So he can't really remember her, but he can remember the color of the underwear or something. I think that would be a crazy thing, but it's also something I feel like Oda could potentially do and just recontextualize that whole gag in some way.
Yeah. That'd be really funny if that happens. That would actually make it like worth it, like all the weird scenes. Like,
yeah, it also in the anime would make sense because like they have like 1,000 more of those scenes.
Yeah.
Where maybe it's but I think maybe we should talk about Harold like after the flashback, like because then it really becomes Harold's story, right? That's really been the focus for the last like 4 chapters or so.
Yeah.
Harold and Loki. So you don't like Harold? So
overall, like I completely understand, his motivations and his agenda. Getting ELBAF under the world government like makes total sense, but I feel like he's just very naive. Like he really thinks like the world government is better than what it is. Like he just has no idea anything about it, which is fine. I mean, he wouldn't know because he's on ELBAF this whole time. But like it is like once he starts selling out across the world, and we get a lot of really fun scenes of him ransacking and sort of raiding and all this stuff, and he sort of is brought under the world government and is offered, this position. He's like, you know what, this would be great. I don't want my people to be a warlike people, and I want them to become peaceful. Like I love all of that, but like I feel like it's just so stupid. Like with how much we know about like the world and all that stuff, and he has been sailing across the world. He's been talking with Shanks even. Like that was fun. Like him hanging out with Shanks and hanging out with Rocks and like all these characters. And they're telling him like, don't do this. Like you need to, just, get your people stronger. And he's like, no, like this will be different. It'll be different. I mean, but at the same time, no one really knows about Emu, so, it makes sense. But once he learns about it, he accepts it anyways. And it's this big, shadowy villain guy. And I'm just like, man, it's just very unforgivable, I feel like. Like, up to a point, it was forgivable. But once he's in the throne room and he gets the brand, I'm like, okay, this is just ridiculous. Like,
yeah.
I'm trying to like him. I try, but it's really hard.
I mean, I don't like his choices, but I like his character in the story. I think at a certain point he is so naive that it borders on impossible to believe, right? But then again, on the other side, I think it's like some cost fallacy to the max. You kind of see the progression of him. Like he even has the dialogue. It's just like, now I betrayed my best friend for nothing, so it has to be worth it. And even in the last chapter, he was like, oh, it was all for nothing. So I think it's a great tragedy of a character kind of, like by small decisions being more and more into that fallacy of the what is the name? I just said it.
The sunk cost fallacy.
Sunk cost, yeah. He just, every decision just sink him deeper in, and he should pull out. We are like, why do you do this? Like you can't trust him. You've been told you can't trust him, but he's like, no, I've paid this cost in all these other ways. I need to keep going. And super naive, right? A big, also like really when you think about it, like it's kind of funny. Like he goes into a throne room, there's like a big demon on top of a fucking stair, right? It was like then brands him, and he's like, "Oh, cool! Now I'm part of the government." Like, you don't have any moment where you're like, "Okay, maybe I shouldn't get branded by the scary demon guy." But you could also argue then it's hubris, right? He is like maybe the strongest person in the world at that point, or like top 5 or 3 for sure. Like he's super powerful. He could clash with rocks and was somewhat equal. So he's very strong, and it was hubris to a degree. But I really like the tragedy of it, like especially that panel of him, like it was all for nothing. He ripped out his horns, did all of that, and he did it all for love because he met Ida, and her death scene was really, really cool and nice and impactful. And it was a different kind of death scene. I don't want to get totally sidetracked, but just like briefly, different kind of death scene that Oda normally does. Like it was more understated in a way, where like you held her hand and then she was gone and then he just walked away. But I think for Harold, I think really cool character, and one thing I really like about him as well, he's a king. There's a lot of king characters in One Piece, like it's a very archetypical. We go into an island, there's a royal family, they've been ousted or there's some plot and we help them. But here it's more like he was actually a very good king in many ways. You see all the good things he did. But he's also very flawed in a way that a lot of the other kings weren't. Like if you look at Cobra, like he got tricked and he got kidnapped and stuff, but he didn't make any super massive blunders, as I recall. The same with Dressrosa, Riku. Like he got directly manipulated and tricked, right? But he didn't really make any choices that was super that you would disagree with in a way, right? He did it all because he had good intentions. But with Harold, it's more like you saw a lot of bad decisions being made by him. which
Yeah.
I feel we haven't seen by other kind of king characters. So I thought that was refreshing to see more like, okay, he made so many bad decisions and is kind of like a bad character in that way. Like, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, he feels very different from a lot of the other king characters in that
He
sense.
does. Yeah. And I really like too that he. I don't know. I guess he was mostly supportive of his sons. I mean, he could have done better with that, like, cause I can't even remember, but he was also responsible for ousting Loki, wasn't he? Or was that done
No, I
behind
mean
his back?
it's a bit ambivalent,
Yeah.
but the way I think it's portrayed is that he's kind of like an absentee father. He
Yeah.
does love his sons, but he's like too busy with like ruling the nation and sailing around and improving relations that he kind of neglects his family. But he
Mm-hmm.
doesn't do it out of malice. It's
Yeah.
more like he has this mission, and he's like, okay, my sons, they're being taken care of, but you see how Loki's abused, and it seems like I remember there's a scene when he comes back and he's like, "Oh, why are you crying?" or like, "Why are you bandaged?" or something.
Yeah.
And again, I think that's actually a nice flaw. It's like, okay, he is in some ways not a good dad because he doesn't pick up on those things,
Mm-hmm.
but that makes him flawed in a way because he's so focused on his larger mission. And I kind
Yeah.
of like that. Like, okay, he's blinded by his like vision to change and make ELBAF better, that he neglects the people closest to him.
Yeah.
And again, that's kind of part of the tragedy.
Yeah. Like talking about it that way, like I appreciate it a lot more because I never really made all those connections yet. Like again, the arc isn't finished yet, so I'm just kind of seeing
Mm.
where it's going, and then I'll think about that. Is usually how I go, like reading books and stuff, and previous arcs. But like, as we talk about it, I'm like, okay, like I like his character a little more. But I think at the end of the day, he's still very naive. But I do really like that Loki refuses to tell the truth about it, or to at least tell that Harold failed, because it shows that like even though he was absent his entire life and didn't really support him in any way, like he still cares about his father, which is something that I was not expecting.
Mm.
I thought he would say something about it, but as we know, in the present day, he is the scorn of ELBAF, and I'm really interested to see him and his devil fruit, Loki, because last we see him, he is running towards it, and Harold is possessed, and he's chasing after him, like, no, you can't have it, I gotta have it. And I guess we can talk a little bit about theories about what is this legendary fruit. Do we think it's Luffy's fruit? And then, because that would make sense. I mean, it gets stolen by the world government, then Shanks steals it, and then Luffy accidentally eats it. Like, that would make sense. But I think personally it's a different fruit. I think it's the other fruit that maybe can defeat Emu, I believe is what it said. I think thematically, I think Blackbeard's fruit is better for that, but I think it's possible that it's Loki's fruit. So, and that's why I want him
Yeah,
on the
because
crew as well. So,
it was mentioned by Rockfight he needed like two fruits, and one of them was an Elbaf, I think.
yeah.
Yeah, so I think there's a high possibility it might be Luffy's fruit, and it's like it then gets taken by the world government and then stolen by Shanks.
Mm-hmm.
But we also know, or unless the story has or Loki is lying, that he has a devil fruit that he's eaten, right? That he's
Mm-hmm.
eaten that fruit. I'm leaning towards it being one of two things. Either it's the Fenrir fruit, like he's going to be a giant wolf, like a Soren,
Oh,
or
that'd be
like
fun.
it is Jormungandr, like the Midgard worm.
Oh, yeah.
Because those two has also been present. Like you think at the very start of the arc, when they're in the Legoland, Luffy he punches a giant snake,
Oh, yeah.
which is called Jormungandr. Maybe that was foreshadowing for like Loki and him fighting, or him possibly
Yeah.
being the snake. And we've also seen Fenrir as like and Jormungandr as like the dream creatures, and also there has been like a giant wolf as part of Loki's pets down in the underworld.
Mm-hmm.
And I think thematically with Nordic mythology, those two has the closest connections to Loki. They're literally his children, both of them. But it could also be something out of left field. But I feel like it's probably going to be something related to Norse mythology, and very likely a zone.
Yeah.
That would fit. But we did see the hammer. The hammer is in its own interesting category. But maybe before we jump to that, like, what do you think?
Yeah, I really like the idea that he's either Fenrir or Jormungandr, because I didn't think of that, but That would be absolutely awesome if that was the case. I hope it's more the wolf, but I think Jormungand would be better because he sort of is the indicator that the world is ending in mythology. So I think that'd be a really great like bonus. Like the wolf is cool, like I don't deny it, but thematically, I think Jormungand would be better. So I absolutely would want that to be his fruit. And maybe that's why he's chained up, like, but I don't know, like, is it like a sea stone chain? Is that what it was? Did they say that?
Yeah, and he
Okay.
has it on one ankle now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was sea stone. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, because I was gonna say if he can just turn into a snake, he can just wiggle out. But if it's sea stone, then yeah, it's impossible. But what do
And
you
we
think
saw with
about?
the ham. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, I was gonna talk about the hammer. But what were you gonna say?
So yeah, so it's also because like at the end of that chapter, there was like a speech bubble with the hammer. It
Mm-hmm.
seems to indicate that maybe the hammer had like a laugh, but it might also just be like a sound effect. But
Mm-hmm.
I could see, like sentient weapons is not something new in One Piece, right?
Yeah.
So it would be interesting if it's like it seems to attack him as well. Is it this kind of like, okay, is he worthy of protecting the fruit? We know he wielded it in present day, so it's like if you eat the fruit, you get the hammer, or maybe the hammer is his whole separate thing. Because I think that could maybe be a mystery. Like we think he has a fruit, but maybe he just has the hammer and he doesn't actually have a fruit,
Yeah.
or something like that. But the hammer definitely we know it has like lightning powers. Like when he used it, that's what caused the fire in ELBAF.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really interesting and cool, and it's interesting with the mythology. A lot of people are like, "Oh, it's like you can only get it if you're worthy," but that's
Mm-hmm.
something for Marvel mythology. Like the original
Yeah.
mythology doesn't really have that, but more people are probably familiar with the version Marvel has. With like you can only lift it if you're worthy.
Mm-hmm.
So Oda might be pulling from that, but
Do you?
else, Sorry.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you. Do you think that the hammer is similar to Odin's sword, where it gives him hockey powers, and that's why he's able to use lightning? That's sort of what I was thinking about when you were talking about sentient weapons. And
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think it has like a lightning power, right? Like
mm-hmm.
that seemed to be the case. He when he used it, he smacked the tree, and then lightning came down from the sky.
Yeah.
So it's like, what kind of fruit could it have? Can't really have an elf fruit because like he's still alive,
Yeah.
presumably, and this was like many years ago.
He'll team up with Loki. I'm betting on it.
When I saw that giant lightning, I was thinking of Enel, and he also got name dropped like 20
Yeah.
chapters or 10 chapters ago. So I mean, that would be an insane comeback. But
I want it.
yeah, me too. I'm just so excited to figure out like next chapter, like what's up with the hammer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and hope Usopp gets it eventually. That would be such a good. I'm just praying Usopp gets something. Like if he doesn't get anything this arc, that is gonna drag it down for me a bit because
Yeah.
like so much thematic build up, and like Usopp has been starving for so long. Like if he doesn't get anything here, then Oda just doesn't care.
Yeah.
Like with all that build up and all that dialogue and everything, to not
Yeah.
give him anything. And if you give Brooke something and not him, I'm like, come on. That's that point. It's like, okay, you're just done with that character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all this build up since Little Garden of Luffy and Usopp loving the giants. Like, we need some payoff with it. Like, it's been 20 years or something. So, since that arc, if I recall right, but maybe 25
More.
years.
I think actually it's like early 2000s. So yeah.
Wow.
One Piece has the 30-year anniversary next year, or
Oh,
2027. So yeah,
that's
year and a
awesome.
half.
Do we want to talk about where we think the series would go from here? Because Oda just released probably the most hyped letter ever, basically saying we're going to Laugh Tale next. Like,
So I think
do we believe him?
I think that's a misdirection.
Yeah.
So I feel like it could be definitely, because I definitely believe him that he says like the pace has been feeling pretty fast in a good way,
Mm-hmm.
not in a rushed way, to me at least.
Yeah.
So I think maybe because like I said, he's getting older and he want to finish it, I could see him just going for it. But on the other hand, it also feels like a misdirect.
Hmm.
So to me, it feels like, okay, we're probably, a lot of people are speculating Lodestar, which is like where Roger got the information about finding the road bundlers.
Oh, okay.
But they set that on so maybe they go there and there's the man with the burn scars there or some other small plot.
Mm.
Even like it's not, I don't think if they go there, it's not going to be like a whole like 60 chapter arc, which is like a 10
Yeah.
20 chapter thing.
It'd be like Reverie, I
And
think, like 2 or 3
and
chapters.
I think the big question for me is like after that, do they either go then to Laugh Tale and get the One Piece, or do they go to Final War, which has been teased a long time, right? Like the big giant conflict between all the big players. Because in a way, it would be a little bit anticlimactic to go get the One Piece and then go fight the Final War. Where if we go fight the Final War and we still have the One Piece waiting, there's still that tension, and that would be. It would feel to me to be maybe thematic fulfilling that is the very last thing we do in the story before we have an epilogue, is that we get it. But I can see it go kind of both ways. But it's definitely is like very close. After that letter, I believe okay, One Piece could end in like 2 or 3 years, where I think before the letter I'm like, okay, we still have 5 years left or 6 years left or something. But now I think okay, he might actually close it sooner.
Yeah.
Marineford was only 30 chapters, and that was like
Wow.
a big epic war, right? So he could do like the big giant epic war in a year or less, depending on how many chapters he release.
Yeah, because I feel like the most easy answer would be Vieira, the island of Vieira, which is where that coup was happening. Because Oda released a recent graphic that said like the path to Laftel, and he said like that was one of the steps was the island of Vieira or Viro, and Nami name drops that like very early in the series, talking about how like there's always a succession of coups going on, people keep assassinating and taking over. But I would really love to see them go to Mary Joa first, and then go to Laftel. I think that'd be just so fun. Like maybe
But that I think that is the final war. When they then go there. Yeah,
that's a good point. Because I think it would be pretty underwhelming if they got the One Piece first, unless the One Piece is like this great like ancient weapon, something. I don't know. Like we don't know with the One Piece yet, still, and like it's just so fun like having caught up now, knowing that like I'm so close to the end, because it's just like I have all this information and I'm like I would be happy with really anything, and I'm really leaning towards that. The One Piece is like this very futuristic technology, because we got some I guess reveals when Anil was on the moon, and this is something I looked into like recently, was those chapters. But he talks about how there was this ancient civilization that Joy Boy was interacting with on the moon, and he had been on the moon. And I'm wondering, like, does Joy Boy have like this like spacefaring technology that like nullifies, Emu's stuff? Like it's just so interesting. Like
I mean, there is all this of like the moon and the sun and sun gods, and I really hope for a moon arc. I think I talked to you
same.
about that before, but I feel like if he's saying he wants to pick up the pace, we might not have these kind of like, unless he weaves it in somehow.
I mean, we have to get more Joy Boy flashbacks. I mean, it's definitely possible we see him like just on a spaceship or something, because no one's even mentioned space travel. No one's interested in going to space. So,
but it could also, I mean, it could end up being just a side thing, and we never see Enel again. I don't hope, because I think that was such a cool thing. But it is also kind of can of worm to open at this stage in the story, right? Like, how do you deal with all of that, and how do you incorporate it?
Yeah.
I wouldn't want it to be like suddenly we're fighting another planet or something, like it could easily jump the gun or something. So I don't know. Like I hope he incorporates it, especially I hope to see now. But I could also seeing it being a thing where he's like, okay, we leave it. It's a fun little side thing that's in the universe, but like we focus on the main thing going on.
Yeah.
But it is wild. There's aliens, like confirmed aliens in one. Space pirates.
Yeah. Like Space Pirates would be so fun. And like, because I think the editor, he said that like Oda one day just sat him down and just explained everything. It took him 8 hours to like relay everything. And I'm like, there has to be a lot more than just like, oh, this happens and this happens. Like, it has to be this great cosmic like thing going on. Like, so I really hope there is like more space travel. And Moon Arc would be amazing. Like, I'd be so happy if they did that. Like, but yeah, is there anything else for us to talk about? I feel like we've run out of stuff.
What was your favorite moment or chapter of the year?
Oh my gosh. I have like three that sprang up to mind. One was the introduction of Rox and sort of his entire crew coming onto ELBAF. Another one was the super punch of all of the most powerful characters of the series landing one big punch. That was just awesome. But I also really liked the moment when like slipped my brain as I was saying it. But I guess Shamrock, getting the reveal of Shamrock. I think those three moments are just all just it was all mind blowing when I first read it, because I was not expecting any of those, like, and just the build ups to all of that. Like, it recontextualized a lot getting Shamrock, like with Mary Jo and the Gorosei, because I was saying here like, why would Shanks meet with them? Like, he's so evil and all this stuff, and I'm like, wait a minute, like that was a whole nother guy, and it was just, you know, his twin. What was yours?
Those are great moments. I think those are good picks. I think the mural.
Oh, the mural. Yeah, we haven't mentioned
which was actually at the very start of 2025. I just think when I saw that, I was like, okay, I feel more confident that he actually has a plan and like a mythology built up, like just a sense of history and mythology, and like, okay, there's connections here and there's thoughts put into it. To me, that was just really cool, and like how you can look at it and interpret it, and how it's probably going to connect to a bunch of stuff going forward, and how that ties everything up. I feel like that's going to be like the main anchor you can go back and look at. I really wanted to find like a nice artistic rendition of it where it's like colored or something that I can get up on a wall. So I really like it. But yeah, so that, I think that moment for me, I also really, as like Gaban's reveal and making that smaller.
Gaban,
We haven't really talked much about him, but like that was a big, like a lot of people speculated it would be him, but he was revealed at the start of the year, and I really enjoyed his character and got so far. So yeah.
Yeah, I really like too in the mural, because there's a little thing where Emu is riding Zoe or Sumesha, and it makes me think that he was dummy reversing, and that's what his crime was, is that he did something terrible because of Emu.
That's an interesting theory.
So, yeah,
because we know from the White Century there's a lot of apologies, Joy Boy apologies on Fishman Island, and Sunesha is apologizing, and Emmett, you know, he was also like put out of commission somehow. Like there's a lot of, we know they lose, so like how that all shakes down is interesting.
Do you think there's this theory going around? I don't know what I think of it yet, but there's a theory that Luffy is going to go back in time and he is Joy Boy. Like literally Joy
I hate
Boy.
that. No, I don't want that. Fucking no, hell no.
Yeah.
I really don't think so, because like in the anime now, there was a different voice actor and we saw the character. So I find that very, very unlikely. Also, we had time travel rules established with the fruits that you can only go forward. Which is, I really like that, because like that circumvents the whole logic of like, what if you go back and fuck up something, and timelines and all that. If you can only go forward, you're not breaking any continuity. So that makes sense to me. But yeah, I don't want backwards time travel. No, please don't.
There was also the moment, because when he's talking to Emmett, you can see that he is like Kaido's sized and not, you know, as tiny human like Luffy is.
Well.
So.
I would never take scaling that serious in One Piece, because like that is very inconsistent. Could be definitely look, if you look at like the ratios, that he looks like he's big, and there's also like the giant straw hat in Marijora's with Emo.
Oh yeah.
So maybe that is because Joy Boy is a giant or like a very large human. But I'm kind of withholding judgment just because I know scaling is like, if you look at the newest chapter, like when Shanks is attacking Harold. Shank's sword is like 3 times the size of Shank's. Like this, the scaling is wild.
Yeah.
There's just like, I think he does an overall good job, Oda, but sometimes things are just not consistent or like out of whack.
Yeah. Yeah, I really like to, like, if that time travel thing is true, then it just kind of nullifies the resurrection, reincarnation themes going on. Because we have a lot of, like, there was 3 of them. There was, like, Joy Boy was the original one. He was the first pirate.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another reincarnation that we don't really know too much about, but the mill talks about how those 3 ages of the world. And I think each one has a Joy Boy Luffy sort of figure in them. And I'm very curious to know if we'll get more on that. That might be during the Void Century. We need a mega flashback explaining the Void Century. So
yeah, I have the same, like there's 3, right? But I think like present day is Luffy, Void Century is Joy Boy, and then before the Void Century is like the Sun God or whoever that was.
Oh yeah, okay. Maybe, I mixed it up, yeah.
And maybe that will just stay mythology. I think that's also, I don't think a story needs to answer every single question, you know. Some things can be and it actually add to the mystery, right? But it could also be cool to get more answers than that. But that's also what the mural has, like it has the 3 parts, right? Like
yeah. And there's the idea too, because in the mural we see a figure like creating the devil fruit tree, and it makes me wonder if like the original one was Nika who had done that, like whoever the vessel was, and he just kind of like gave that as a gift to humanity as a way to circumvent, you know, Emu and all that. Because if I recall, you can't be dummy reversied with a devil fruit, right? There's like some weird.
I don't think any rule like that has been established. We don't know. Yeah. It has been theorized that like that do need to be some explanation of like why does Emu just not dummy reverse everyone in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like why is there even opposition? Why isn't he just going and dummy reversing Kaido and Big Mom? He knows where they are. You know, for the last 20 years when they had territories. So some people speculate there needs to be like a pentagram, or it can only be in your home island.
Yeah, because the people who Italian is like return home or something.
Like Rocks on God Valley was his home island, and ELBAF is Harold's home island.
Yeah,
and they got dummy kind of taken over there, but then or else it's the mark, right? But like I don't know. Then I feel like there needs to be some explanation for like why is Emu not just doing this to all the most powerful people in the world?
Yeah,
and then just taking over. Yeah. Like why did he only do it to Rocks? Why not do it to the rest of the powerful characters there?
Do it to Aja and just end the entire pirate war. Like
yeah.
So
I don't know. Guess we'll see. Yeah, but interesting. It's definitely gonna be an interesting year. See where it ends up.
Yeah, 2026 I feel like it's gonna be the biggest year of One Piece like ever, and I can't wait. It's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
But yeah, awesome. We're about an hour and a half, so I don't know if there's anything else to discuss, but I feel like we've talked about everything at this point. So I want to thank you for joining with me today to chat ELBAF. This was just so much fun. And anyone who's still watching, thank you for watching. This was a lot of fun. I hope you agree. So, yeah.
Thank you, Christian. Great discussion as always.
Yep, you're welcome. We'll have to meet, like, I guess, the first quarter of the year after another batch of chapters come out. Maybe 10 chapters we'll meet.
Yes.
So.
Yes.
All right. Well, bye, everyone.
Yeah.